Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session of Getting Prepared for AI in Cybersecurity. Please note that this session will be for 90 minutes. And the one request that I had with Pradeep and with Jayesh was not to show us theory. So this session will be completely practical. We will be having demos. We will be talking to you with examples, and we will be showcasing live demos on things that are important to you, things that are relevant to you, right? And Pradeep has managed to create a cybersecurity framework. So stay in. We will wait for another 2 minutes for more of your colleagues and your cybersecurity friends and fellow professionals to join. You can stop and ask us questions anytime that you want on the chat window. We absolutely encourage questions, challenge our opinions and our viewpoint. Uh, let's wait for another minute. Remember, this is not going to be, we are going to, of course, talk about AI concepts in cybersecurity, but this is not just theoretical. We want just get you the slides and talk about how AI was built in 1940. This is going to be an absolutely practical session. Jayesh and Pradeep have done AI consultation. They have done AI implementations. They will walk the talk. So this is all about an absolute experience. Stay back, ask questions as much as you want. We are committed to give you an answer that is workable for you. At the end of the session, you will have a very clear understanding as to where we can implement AI, what is evolving, what is mature, how you can implement it. We will also be talking about AI going beyond just tools and techniques, right? This is all about going beyond it. This is getting a framework in place. So there will be demos, there will be Q&A sessions, there will be concepts, and Pradeep Menon has prepared a lot of examples to walk you through how we can go about it. So just hang in there, and it's going to be a great webinar. We will promise you that it will be a very engaging webinar in AI cybersecurity. We have an offer as well later. If you want an assessment of uh, your organization and how to get AI framework into your organization, boom, we will be able to walk you through that as well, right? Uh, just a minute. In the next 30 seconds, we are going to start the session. So this is a conversation about how to prepare yourself with AI. Pradeep, if you just can show that slide, then we can go ahead with that. So essentially, we are doing a part of 9 webinar series on different aspects of cybersecurity under what we call as a Cyber Olympics. It's basically, you can visit our website and look at what Cybersecurity Olympics is all about. You can ask questions, you can engage with our customers, and you can participate on our webinars too. Going to the next slide. These are, I just want to formally introduce, Pradeep, go to the next slide, please. I just want to formally introduce Pradeep and Jayesh. Pradeep speaks regularly at different forums. He was an honored speaker at the JITEX last year, where he spoke about artificial intelligence, and he has consulted across UK, Africa, Middle East, and even parts of US. Jayesh, on the other hand, is a seasoned cloud architect and he's a practice lead. He has done exclusive AI implementations in areas of SOC, in the areas of compliance, and so on and so forth. Over to you, gentlemen. Just bring out your best and let's go for it.
Thank you, Mukund. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us, keeping away your other business as usual activities. And much appreciate your time. I'm sure it would be worth it for you. And this is our agenda for today. We will briefly discuss about what is the scope and context on which we would be discussing AI, and what is AI-powered cybersecurity. Then we'll also discuss some of the framework that as organizations can use within their cybersecurity functions using AI. And this includes an operational roadmap as well as using AI to its fullest potential and using a transformative roadmap as well. And my colleague Jayesh would be presenting you some live demos, which are very interesting use cases. You could readily see those use cases as well. So let me set the context and tell you what this intent of this presentation today is. So the intent of the presentation today is to present a prioritized set of activities which a cybersecurity functions can do within the organization in adopting AI. So it is about a roadmap that you can create for cybersecurity functions within AI. What is the roadmap you can create? So we will give you a prioritized order recommendation from a generic standpoint. And of course, for each organization, this would differ depending upon the vertical that you're operating in, the sensitivity you're operating in, etc. And this will help you to create such a framework, probably give some thoughts and pointers to create your own framework for your organization in having a prioritized order of action. Now, when I come to AI, what I'm talking about is not just about generative AI. Of course, we are talking about generative AI, but it includes the other aspects of AI, which is the ANI as well, the narrow ANI, artificial narrow intelligence as well, which is a trick-a-pony in terms of one function at a time, automation using AI. And if I classify all these three, so this falls in three buckets: narrow AI, generative AI, AGI, artificial general intelligence. We are very far away from artificial general intelligence, but current lot of excitement and hopes tells us, sometimes seemingly tells us that it is close by, but to put to rest all those things, it is still far away, probably decades away from where, and we will see some sentient, or whether there is a possibility whether sentience will appear within artificial general intelligence as well. And if you see the entire spectrum, the most of the contributions value has come from artificial narrow intelligence. And Gen AI has been around only for some time. And while there has been quite a lot of excitement initially, but certain things have died down, and now it has come to a practical situation of using AI. So narrow AI also is useful for cybersecurity, as well as generative AI is also useful for cybersecurity. So in order, if you want to automate functions such as which are rule-based, pattern-based, etc., you can use narrow AI. And if you want to use one for creative, generative one, you can use generative AI for that. For example, you can see all these works: secure code review, vulnerability assessments, system hardening, etc., can be easily automated using narrow AI, which will give you very good results. But when it comes to breach attack simulation or using some queries which are related to using a natural language queries for your SIM tools, etc., Gen AI will be a better choice for that. So for today's discussion includes both aspects of AI, which includes Gen AI as well as narrow AI. Now, having said that, the Gen AI, between Gen AI and narrow AI, the threat surface has increased in organizations because of the advent of generative AI, because it's been so pervasive with every employees and others making use of it. There's quite a lot of risk currently the organization faces, which including confidential data going public, at the risk of data privacy exposure and regulatory fines, data poisoning. A lot of intellectual property could be out there, which the inadvertently or advertently the staff might be using generative AI for that. And there is no guardrails that organization has put in place in order to protect itself from such kind of breaches. So we also need to understand what are the limitations of AI. So there are certain things very complex which AI can do, which driving thousands of miles in a driverless car is a very easy thing currently for AI to do. But to differentiate a hand signal, whether it is a stop signal, asking for a lift, or turning off a bike, these are very difficult things for AI to achieve currently. A wonderful use case, which is very popular, is identifying from various scans and others. AI can diagnose a certain disease or something. But stifling through some few pages and looking at few images, AI cannot make intelligence out of it, but a human being can easily make an intelligence out of it. So there are certain limitations as we are encountering this. And a similar case, if I transform this into cybersecurity as well, AI and ML works well when when it is very narrow in operation. You want from A to B, what do you want to achieve from A to B? It's a very easy and a simple function. It can achieve effectively. And AI/ML requires a vast amounts of data in order to train them, model them, etc. Then only this ML will work well. And it is very poor when it is to do a function which has to do a complex function with a limited set of data. AI/ML cannot work very well. And also, if you're you're presenting it the model with a new set of data and what it has been already trained for, that also it doesn't work well in those conditions. Let's say a use case where a network intrusion detection system in cybersecurity domain. Usually the organization generates a lot of traffic and data that is available to them. And that can be used very effectively because there is enough number of data that is available. The volume of data is high enough for you to model an AI. And it's a very good use case for AI. As well as even if the data is less, but for a narrow, simple function like authentication using biometrics with limited set of people, but even if the people puts on a specs one day or injure something on the face or anything, still AI will be able to decide because it's a very simple function to achieve. AI can do it very effectively. But if our AI has to predict a ransomware attack based on a poorly set of data that you have been exposed to earlier, considering your network and other parameters and system parameters, IT estate, it might not predict very well, and you might not get a very useful prediction from it. And also, if you have an AI model which predicts social engineering attacks, and if you have not updated that model or used the new data that comes up because of human ingenuity and creativity in crafting phishing emails or wishing, etc., then it might not work very well for you. The AI/ML cannot give you some very good results. So now, considering that there are limitations to AI, there are risks to AI, and the question arises is, how do I use AI effectively within a cybersecurity department or a cybersecurity function? Where do I use it? So it's very commonsensical. So the intersection of the points of having enough business benefits and your ability to have it transformed into AI, the feasibility of AI transforming a function. So the intersection of those areas is effectively a very good area for AI adoption. So which are effectively valuable for business. There could be, you could have a technically feasible function because of AI, and that need not be effective value for business. For example, consider that we can have an AI for generating complex passwords, which is a very useful, which is a very feasible thing to do. But on a business criticality side and a business benefit, you're not using AI to what it is supposed for, and you might not derive very much use of business benefit from that. So that doesn't fall under the intersection. So the intersection is where there is a good business benefit, there is a good business case for that, and as well as that activity is feasible to be modeled under AI so that you get predictive and practical results for your organization. So we have considered a couple of parameters from business dimensions and technology dimensions. The business dimensions have been taken from the very famous transaction cost economics model from strategic management theory. And technology dimensions comes from how to use the feasibility of using AI in those activities. Let's, for one instance, consider risk assessment as an activity which the cybersecurity function does annually once or twice within the organization. When we look at the criticality of the organization as it for the business part of it, it's a very high critical because exposure, the risk exposure for the organization is an important information that the CXOs and the organization needs to know for its survivability of the organization, etc. And it's a very high critical one, so rated as high. The transaction cost advantage is rated as here as medium. Transaction cost advantage refers to the whether this particular adoption of AI into this activity, does it provide enough cost effectiveness or value for business? Those kind of parameters are evaluated. And if you consider transaction cost advantage, it's medium because the data that will be used is not time sensitive or effective enough to be used immediately by the business, but also in terms of the investment that is required to create such an AI model should also be considered here. So in rate of those two things, I can rate it as medium. Now let us take the financial, technology dimensions, wherein which the repeatability and data availability is a key metrics. So as I mentioned, in order for AI to succeed for a particular operation, it requires vast amount of data to be modeled. So giving you some very predictable outcomes. And repeatability is also very important because it provides the organization, it reduces actually the noise when you model this. So when a repeatability, so it doesn't get swayed by the more noisy patterns that you might see within your data. Standardization in case of risk assessment is low because multiple organizations, the multiple units within the organization itself uses risk assessment in a different ways, in different methodologies. Internal audit uses in a different way, external audit uses different way. The cybersecurity uses in a different way, the business continuity management uses in a different way. The compliance functions uses risk assessment methodology in a different way. So there is no standardized approach to data that's usually there in practice in organizations within risk assessment. So it is low. The transaction frequency is medium because it's not a very real-time operational. It's multiple times in a year. I'm just what I'm considering is a normal risk assessment risk register that you might create by automated means or through Excel sheets and others, what organization does in cybersecurity. And in terms of time sensitivity also, it is medium because the more higher and time rich the organization data is, that much effective is the predictability factors for AI to operate on. So likewise, if I consider for patch management, so in risk assessment, you saw that there was 1 high, 3 mediums, and 2 low out of the 6 parameters. When I consider patch management, I get all the highs, the criticality because it's a very high critical activity. Still, most of the successful attacks happens because of non-patching of systems and servers, applications, and various other items. So it's a very critical activity for business. It could also mean survivability of business itself. There's a high transaction cost advantage. AI gives you opportunities for not investing in heavy testing, test bed for patches, and using AI model activities, you can have patches provide you quite financial benefits as well. And in technology dimensions, because you are doing it over and over again, there is a lot of data availability within the organizational spectrum. The data is standardized because there is always a management procedure. There is a definite way of how you are doing it. And that provides standardized data sets as well. And frequency is high with your items available, such as transaction frequency, because of your patch Tuesdays and various other patches that you install. There's a high frequency of it, and it is time sensitive as well as the patching data is time sensitive as well. So you can see that all of them are high here. Likewise, if I consider for incident response monitoring, you can also
Pradeep,
see.
Just a second. I think it's just time for a quick poll. Let's have a quick poll. I just want to understand what do they think is the biggest challenge in threat detection? And let's ask them that question. I mean, the reason why this question I'm trying to ask is that we just want to understand, right? What are they worried about false positives? Are they worried about difficulty in correlating alerts? Do they not have automated tools? All right. Looks like 30% of the people are bothered by false positives. 15 of them uh, have difficulty correlating alerts, and 32% have limited visibility into potential threats. Probably this is fodder for us to for you to kind of walk us through something like, walk us through what their challenges that they're facing and then address some of this. It'll be interesting.
Okay. Thank you, Mukund. So, Jayesh, you have any, means I would like to also Mukund, invite Jayesh in order to see if he has any experiences in these areas as well from his areas and dealing with consulting with clients as well. Jayesh, would you like to add
Yeah.
some few things here?
Yes, sir. Yes. Hi, Pradeep. Thank you so much. Yes, Pradeep. Basically, in the real world SOC environments, one challenge what we have observed is the predicting the ransomware attacks using a very limited amount of data which we have in the SIEM solutions and various other solutions. Okay. Ideally, to do all these predictions, we require a machine learning model. Okay. But in the traditional SOC environments, the SOC engineers or the SOC analysts has to do all these different type of analysis, like analyzing the patterns in network traffic, analyzing the user behavior, host behavior, and there are a lot of early stage anomalies that needs to be done manually. Okay, before a full blown attack that can occur. So I can give you one example. Okay, where basically a SOC team has in my traditional SOC team has observed an unusual activity, which was basically there was frequent file renaming activities that was being done. Okay, and then because of that frequent file renaming activity, we observed that there were also new user creation and deletion activities were being conducted. Now this all different type of unusual activity the SOC team correlated, and we were able to identify that the attacker was able to run a particular file, okay, with a temporary file extension, which was basically with using some like a .lock or .tmp file. Okay, and the attacker was able to communicate to the command and control center, so using which basically he was able to he was planning to do some data exfiltration or maybe trying to take a full remote control of the machine. But because of the proactive monitoring and the advanced threat hunting capabilities of them, they were able to stop that attack in an early period, and the attack was not successful.
Oh, thank you, Jayesh. Thank you for chipping in with that scenario as well. Thank you. So coming back to the slide, so for incident response and monitoring, also if I run through these various parameters, you can see that all these parameters are pretty high, and it is right for, it's pretty high for all the factors, all the 6 factors. So if you want to have a look at what does each of these parameters mean, so that is provided here. You could, when you get a copy of it, you could go through it and how we have distilled these parameters specifically for evaluation. So in this, what we consider out of the 6 parameters, if there are more than 4 highs, the idea is that it is that domain or that activity is pretty much ripe for mature for AI adoption. You can readily go with AI adoption, and you should mostly see some AI tools appearing in this stage already or might appear very soon in that stage. When you have, which is 3 and 4 highs within the entire 6 parameters, it means it's promising in terms of you could use some part of that activity for AI enablement. And while you might not be able to do it fully, and then you might want to keep an eye on the horizon, seeing that how it is maturing for AI adoption. And less than 3 means it's evolving. It might take some time before you get a full-blown solutions in these areas where you can use AI for these activities. So you can see that from what I discussed, from what we saw from risk assessment, patch management, and incident response management, While risk assessment is an evolving in nature, it would take some time for it to have a complete AI adoption and getting some very reliable prediction from an AI tool regarding risk assessment. You will be able to get very good results when it is coming to patch management or incident response monitoring. The adoption is very much possible with the current level of maturity with AI. So we have actually extrapolated this under three buckets: prepare and predict, defend and protect, and detect and respond of the cybersecurity life cycle. So, and there are various activities within that has been listed there from, like if you see prepare and predict, it has got the whole gamut of activities of planning, risk assessment, penetration testing, code review, etc. Defend and protect, including technology deployment, system hardening, patch management, and detect and response, of course, including incident response. So you can see that many of these activities are ready and mature. For instance, if you look at the AI adoption maturity for threat intelligence and hunting, incident response monitoring, patch management, system hardening, these are all at very mature stages, and you can readily adopt for these functions within your cybersecurity department. While certain things which you can partially do are in the promising phase, and the rest of the things are in the evolving phase. So this is done for a generic organization. As I mentioned, this could change for depending upon what vertical you are in, what is the industry, what's your threat profile. This could change and could be customized. And this is an exercise which we could do for your organizations. So this is being offered from our side as well, so which you could use.
Pradeep, I have a question. I mean, if you can go back to that previous slide, right?
Yeah.
I think this question is from my side, and we also have a customer who's asked him the question, but just wanted to kind of walk us through the background. Why did you want to develop this framework? I mean, what was the reason for this framework? Give us that thought process.
Yeah. So the framework development, comes from a realization and a recognition that there are a lot of discussions if you go ahead and check out, about the threats because of AI, or what are the tools you should immediately buy and use AI within your organization. But there is no definitive roadmap that is given for how to use AI within a cybersecurity function, which is practically needed as a CISO or a CXO within your organization. You want to know how to go about practically adapting which all the factors you can do it immediately. And what is the roadmap for doing it? I haven't seen any framework so far in such a comprehensive manner in anywhere that has come across. So this realization struck there is a gap within the entire industry onto how to develop a framework so that could be useful for organizations to adopt it. So that is the basis from which I'm coming. And the second part of the answer is, Mugun, AI is a technology which has got a very significant transformative power. And looking at it as just as a tool to buy or tool to implement will be not harnessing and using its full potential for organization and especially for cybersecurity.
Fantastic. Okay, so there is this question from Mohammed. He asks, how can we conduct incident response using AI models? Which of you guys want to take it up? Pradeep, Jayesh?
Yeah. So I think it's Jayesh has a demo on that, Mukund. So he will be showing through the demo. It's a hands-on demo, like he'll be showing on that how it is being used in the SOC.
No problem.
So
We'll wait for the demo.
Yeah.
But Jayesh, you want to add something, or you want to wait for the demo?
Yeah, so definitely that's a part of today's agenda. We will be the demo is completely based on how you can do a lot of strategic activities, including incident response monitoring using an AI model which was developed by Microsoft. So that is something which we will be discussing in depth in today's demo and webinar.
That's fantastic. So we'll wait for that. Any other question, people? It's a fantastic response. We did not expect so many attendees. It's awesome. Happy to take questions, but please carry on, Pradeep.
Thank you, Mukund. And thank you, Jayesh. So if you really see, so one of the learnings that you get from a cybersecurity interest standpoint, if I consider the buckets of prepare and predict, defend and protect, and detect and respond, so those domains and activities, A very interesting observation that comes out is that the area which is extremely mature for AI adoption is the detect and respond place, which is essentially the SOC where the question coming from, and also responding to it. So almost 67% of the activities within a detect and respond area is today ripe for AI adoption. Whereas in prepare, planning, and predicting, which is more advisory and consulting oriented, we see that it has not matured and it is still only evolving in that space. Whereas defend and protect is in between both, wherein which implementation of solutions or operations of the solutions are in between both. So this is how it largely looks when we summarize the framework. So what
Great.
is an
Pradeep,
area?
before you begin, we just have a quick poll question because I think it's going to add a lot of value to the next conversation you're making. Can we have a poll question, please? What's the biggest skill gap in your security team when it comes to monitoring? Okay, that's great participation. Majority of them feel that understanding and using automation tools is a challenge, followed by threat detection and analysis. Thanks, guys. Sorry, Pradeep, please continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mohit. So this is one of the understanding that what we got from the framework that the detection and response area is by AI adoption than for the earlier prepare and plan activities, which is semi-structured and unstructured actually in the current forms. So some of the roadmap, if you want to just look at an operational roadmap at a very high level, this of course you need to validate with your organization in consideration. The mature areas for immediate adoptions are system hardening, patch management, instant monitoring and response, and threat intelligence and hunting. And the promising areas where some part you could actually, or some part or all, not all, but some part could be used for AI automation, including penetration testing, secure code review, breach investigation and assessment, especially querying and other parts of it, malware investigation and all those things. Some part of it you could always do. And evolving areas include risk assessment, breach attack simulation, where you can use Gen AI and other areas, security technology deployment. And these are some areas which still needs to be evolved so that you could use it, AI within your cybersecurity activities.
Pradeep, time for some questions now. The first question is, how you can assess the adoption of the AI in OT industry environment? I guess the gentleman wants to understand how to figure out how to adopt AI in OT industry experiment. Have I got the question right, Mr. Mohammed? Yeah, please go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, OT industry environment, even the specific things to do. So it's very similar, not in a technical sense of similarity within terms of an OT network or OT zones or something what I'm considering, but in terms of application of OT should also come through a framework like this, where in which you have a complete activities listed down and run it through a technology adoption as well as business benefits, and then identify areas for. One of the advantages that you have in OT, especially with AI, in consideration is because of the various PLC sensors and others which you would use in your OT environment. It creates a lot of amount of data which you could use for ML and AI ML applications currently than any other IT systems which might not create so much data. So OT has an advantage in this area because the amount of volume of data that if you are able to strategically harness it, there's a lot of use cases you can build on top of it and use it for threat prediction, threat intelligence, security operations monitoring. So these are certain things which you can effectively utilize because of the availability of data that is there within an OT environment.
Great. So I think Mr. Sansai PK has a question. I'm just allowing him to talk. Go ahead, sir. Sansai, please unmute yourself. We are not able to hear your question.
Sansai might be inside. Sansai can type it also, you need not probably.
Yeah, you can type it as well, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, in the meanwhile, there's another question. I think this is from Saudi Arabia. As AI adoption accelerates in Saudi, especially in finance, healthcare, and manufacturing, how do you foresee integration of current AI frameworks to the IoT security and data protection regulations such as KSA PDPL? What proactive measures should we take to ensure AI implementation along with these compliance and security standards?
Yeah. So once I complete this, you will see a roadmap, and we have an AI playbook also that is recommended here. So you could go and you can have a look at it, and I will answer it in detail after we go through that.
Fantastic.
So moving ahead, these are some of the recommendations from Gartner actually. So the AI trust risk and security management metrics to be used, especially for Gen AI threat combating. You need to have initiate experiments within SOC, because SOC is, everybody has identified, is one very good use case and area that is ready for application for AI within organizations. So it is better to start with an activity in SOC probably for adoption of AI, and then work in other areas such as in legal and compliance and apply some risk management models. So there are various other risk management models coming from NIST as well, and also an ISO standards in that. So we'll cover that in the coming slides. So going further. Now, this is a very important slide I want to discuss here. Unlike AI, what we usually tend to think whenever there is a technology adoption like a cloud or an IoT, or for any a 5G and those kind of technology comes in, we tend to think that it's one more tool to adopt, or it's one more change to be done. But the key part to be thought through is that AI, using some AI tools within cybersecurity function, is not equal to AI powered cybersecurity. I would like to draw your attention to the internet time. When having a shopping mall plus a website is not equal to an internet company. So shopping mall plus website still has its limitation, but an internet company can have multiple websites at the same time and do an A/B testing of it. An internet company can change its product lines within a matter of days, or within very short time cycles it can change. But a shopping mall or a shopping brick and mortar cannot change it even with just a website. It cannot change its products or change its logistics over time. An AI internet company will have utilized the native features of technology and internet in terms of having people in the hierarchy like product managers, software engineers, and those kind of roles, who has got some equal responsibility while deciding the operation of the store. Unlike the store manager or the store general manager who decides on the product offerings, etc., to be sold within the store. So there is a native capability of internet which made many of the large five companies to actually make and transform themselves into an internet company rather than just adoption. So such a kind of an opportunity is there with AI as well. So just buying some AI tools and using it within the organization, you are not harnessing the entire power of AI within the organization. So in order to harness a complete power of AI, you need to have a AI mindset to be built within the organization. You need to think from a starting point of acquiring strategic acquisition of data. Because we have been automating various things in cybersecurity function, we have not thought through on what all data that what we need to capture in order to have effective predictability for solving cybersecurity problems. We need to think through how to have a unified data warehouse, or if there is already a warehouse, how to use that warehouse in order for cybersecurity prediction, and how to enrich that unified data warehouse with various data capabilities that would come. You need to have skills with new data sciences and machine learning roles within your cybersecurity function. And you need to think about automating various functions, which was largely done by humans so far. How you could automate it, you should start thinking about it. So this would only bring around the inherent internal advantages of AI and transform your cybersecurity function into a AI-powered cybersecurity function. Rather than just buying some tools will not help you to transform this and harness the entire power of AI for your organization. AI is a transformative power because of multiple reasons. So one of the reasons is that AI gives a ability for predicting attacks or predicting adverse events, which was not available to cybersecurity functions so far. It also it also removes some human reliability activities within human activities, also takes off certain human activities within cybersecurity function, which it can actually replace some of the human dependability and reliability while enhancing and applying security measures across a pervasive network, which is a perimeterless networks across multiple boundaries. It can easily scale and apply those security measures. And another ability that AI provides is about self-healing networks, evolving against newly found threats, which was not still available and not relying on a rule-based, having seen so many threats. So those capabilities are provided by AI, and this makes AI a very significant and potent force to be used by cybersecurity functions for effective use. So it's not just buying some tools, but using effectively to transform yourselves. So what could be the elements of a transformative strategy? So you need to have a transformative strategy, not to use it for some operational or tactical needs, but you need to, as I mentioned, you need to get a AI mindset within cybersecurity. So because of certain problems, we didn't have the help of AI, or using AI with human or human assisted by AI or AI assisted by human, you can solve many new problems within cybersecurity, such as predictive threat intelligence, self-healing networks, AI-powered deception systems. So these are certain possibilities which are open now because of AI is there. So you need to think within cybersecurity function to get an AI mindset and the possibility of applying AI, which will give you new use cases, not just automating the existing use cases. It's very important because we all come from a mindset which AI was not there. So it's very important that you need to have acquired data science and skills, machine learning skills within the team. You need to recruit people, or learning should be used. You should do some learning within AI ML so that you can do it. You can include some tools. The organization can have their specific AI ML models, such as using AWS SageMaker or using Azure AI and those kind of capabilities. You can have your own specific models from the data warehouse, which you can use. And also there are a lot of security process because of you're going to use AI and ML within your organizational estate. There is a machine learning ops cycle, which is actually adoption of DevSecOps for machine learning. You need to have built security into those operation model, as well as when the organization expands and contracts its bubbles into the cloud, you need to ensure about how security is going in as a code within this process. And also adopting industry standard best practices such as ISO 42001. And it's currently available not only just for process, but for products as well. And the NIST's AI risk management framework, specific fund for Gen AI in the AI 600, and also 22989 for ISOs for the concepts and terminologies. So
Pradeep, I have a question. I think this is interesting in terms of that. You talked about AI mindset for the cybersecurity professional, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you were to talk about the transformative conversation that you were talking about, right? The transformative strategy. What do you recommend that a company should be doing? Top three things, if you were to summarize that. Top three things, not four, five, but just three.
Yeah, I am giving a transformative playbook itself for cybersecurity for organizations to do. So this playbook start with an AI framework specifically for your organization. Understand what your organization is into. Does it include OT? Does it include IT? What all does it include? Start with an AI framework. Understand the areas for adoption of AI. And the next thing that you have to do is execute a pilot project. And more so, you saw that one of the areas that you could easily adopt is within your detect and respond, which is in the incident response activities or a SOC you can go for. Execute a pilot project. And for this pilot project, you might not have enough skills inside. So it is better always to take some external help so that you get speeded up in your activity and execute an AI pilot project. And along with that, you build some in-house AI capability within your organization so that you can identify new use cases and how you can use those new use cases for implementation. And along with that, do an AI strategy build. What are the various prioritized activities you will take and how do you build an AI strategy? And this requires an internal and external communication as well. Why internally? Because you need to get funds to do further activities. You need to show how you have proved your business cases. Externally, because how do you attract AI and ML talent, which is very rare now and coupled with cybersecurity. So these are some talents which are not available. So you need to communicate it with your internal and external stakeholders as well. And this is the playbook that you should adopt for an effective cybersecurity function to adopt AI within your cybersecurity functions.
Fantastic. All right, we have time for a quick poll question now. Let's have a poll open. Guys, there will be a lot of interesting demonstrations, so stay back. Jayesh is going to show some live cases as well that he has cracked open. Let's go ahead. The biggest roadblock in improving the SOC efficiency in your organization. Skilled personnel, too many alerts, limited budgets. That's a challenge everybody will have. Slow incident response process. All right, looks like the limited budget is slowly winning. Jayesh, I think some of these problems your demonstration will address, right? They will probably kill them.
Yes, yes, definitely. We have targeted the use cases based on the real life world challenges that all the organizations are facing.
Awesome. Yeah.
So we
Pradeep.
proceed.
Yes, sir. Please proceed. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So further, is the time for walking the talk. So, which is the most difficult part. So I would like to invite my colleague Jayesh to take over and provide the context for the demos and also some very good use cases. Over to you, Jayesh.
So the background story is Jayesh wanted to do a lot of demonstrations and he was not wanting just 15 minutes, but he said, I need at least half an hour to show some case studies. So that's the reason why we are having this beautiful set of demos. If you want your colleagues or your friends to join in, you have the joining link, just forward this to them. This will be worth your time and attention. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, Jayesh.
Thank you so much, Mukund, and thank you, Pradeep, sir. It was a great session. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is AI and cybersecurity. My name is Jayesh Devadiga, and I'm excited to guide you on how we can improve the security posture of the organization using an AI model tool or an generative AI solution, which is called as Microsoft Copilot for Security. In today's session, we will discuss three critical business use cases. Okay, that will be basically depending upon the real life world challenges that all the organizations are facing. Okay, and that will also help to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness and the speed of your security operations. Okay, so before we move on to the actual real life world use cases, I would like to give you a short brief about what is security copilot. So there might be some audience who might not know about this solution. So I thought that we will give some idea about the product functionality and what is a product actual. So basically, Microsoft Copilot for Security is an AI-powered tool, okay, or you can call it also call it as an assistive AI solution, which is primarily designed to help security teams to detect, do investigations, do forensic analysis, and also to respond to various cyber threats, okay, more effectively. So this particular product or this particular model is basically built on top of the OpenAI model, OpenAI large language model, and the framework which is built by Microsoft is called as a responsible AI framework, so that the entire product remains within the privacy. The entire product will have maintain its privacy. It will be completely secured, and basically it will follow all the compliance standards which all the global organizations are following right now. Now, the security copilot is basically for the foundation of security copilot lies with the organizational security data, which means that the security copilot will basically connect to your security solutions which are there in your organization. Okay, and it will not connect to any of the other organization data or anything. Basically the data of your organization will be with you yourself only, and it will not be shared with any of the other organizations. Also, this security copilot is basically built or integrated pre-integrated with Microsoft threat intelligence data, which basically helps you in faster threat detection and faster response action, also an effective means of doing the incident monitoring or incident investigations. Next slide. Next slide. Sorry.
Yeah, once.
So the demos
So
are coming up, right, Jayesh? What are the demos that you'll be showing? Just give me a quick walkthrough on the types of demos. You can show the slides, but just what are the demonstrations that are there?
yeah. So the today's agenda for the demonstration will be to target the three critical business use cases, which we have basically based on the real life world challenges or the issues that all the organizations are facing. The first use case we will be targeting is the getting the vulnerability assessment data, like to identify the vulnerable devices in your organization. Now, to basically to get all those details, either the cybersecurity professional needs to have this the required skill set to get into that solution and run all those different reports or queries and get those information. Or if it's a or if it's a non-technical audience, like if someone from the management, okay, who wants to get this particular data, he doesn't need to depend upon any kind of technical person, or he doesn't need to depend upon any kind of a solution, okay, to go to the solution and run complex queries to get that. So he can simply use this particular the centralized window or the copilot AI copilot window to simply write a natural language query and get the required response, and within a very short period of time. The other use case which we will be targeting is basically identifying the normally you might have observed that you with respect to some ransomware activity in your organization, you will ideally find a suspicious file or a malicious file, which can be a script, malicious script. That script basically can be malicious or cannot be a malicious file. But to basically identify or do a thorough evaluation of the script, it is a very pretty hectic task or a very difficult task for a L0 or L1 analyst. Basically, he has to go through each entire script line by line and code by code, and to understand that. But with using Security Copilot, he will be able to do the entire evaluation, analysis, identifying the different indicators and the intended use of that, okay, within seconds, not even not even the hours, within minutes he will be able to do that entire evaluation using Security Copilot. And the third use case is basically we will be targeting the incident investigation using one of the features of Copilot for Security, which is called as embedded experience. So basically, Copilot for Security comes with two different experience. One is the standalone experience. The other is the embedded experience, which basically from the name itself, it is basically embedded within the solution. Sorry,
Right.
Mukund, you were saying?
Jayesh, no, I was just saying this is the time for one poll question. Can you just quickly throw up a poll question? We just want to understand how many people are having currently any AI implementations or plans to implement. Can you just throw up that question, please? All right, carry on. When the poll question comes, it will come. Just sorry, move on, Jayesh.
Thank you so much, Mukund.
It's come. It's come. The question is, have you implemented any AI tools for AI for cybersecurity? No. How many guys are planning to, and what exactly are you planning to? If you can just comment on the chat, it would be awesome. That's a big percentage of people who are planning to, and a big percentage who have not yet. It's just 16% in terms of adoption. Okay, somebody wants to implement the IDS solution on AI. Anybody else? Somebody is commenting that they're looking at exploring it too. Some people. So this is an interesting point. One gentleman named Gary has says that I'm planning to, but I'm not really sure of what direction to take. Pradeep, maybe if you can just quickly answer that. Pradeep, you're on mute.
Yeah, so the directions to take is the best directions to take is to understand the business advantage of implementing AI in a particular activity. Because ultimately the purse and strings are with the business. So if you want to get a budget, you have to have a solid business case. So along with the feasibility of implementing AI, I would suggest that implement AI in one of the areas of instant response and management in SOC, and which has got a higher chance of success for your organization, and to show demonstrate a business value within the organization. That will be a very good point to start off with, actually. So once you get that experience, then you will be able to get more and more activities within the organization for AI.
Okay, fantastic. I think Mohammad Usman has a question. Sir, do you want to ask it or do you want to text it, sir? Go ahead, Jayesh, when we will open the mic for Mohammad when he is ready.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mukund. Thank you, everyone. So as you can see on the screen here, the Microsoft Copilot for Security revolves around different type of security products. It can be a Microsoft native security solutions, or it can also be a non-Microsoft security solution, which you can connect using customized plugins. As you can see here on the screen here, the Microsoft native security solutions like Microsoft Defender XDR, Microsoft Sentinel SIEM solution, Microsoft Entra ID, Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Priva for privacy management, and Microsoft Purview for compliance management. All these different type of security solutions, which are part of the Microsoft security family or the portfolio, can be seamlessly integrated with Copilot for Security. So basically, Copilot for Security does not store any logs or does not does not store any logs from those solution. It basically acts as an assistive AI solution, which will connect to this particular different type of solution, and it will send the request in a natural language model to those solutions so that it can be processed in the backend and you will get the required response. Next slide. Now, the first question that comes into the mind is what can Copilot for Security do? So these are the various examples that a security Copilot can do. Whether it comes to the impact analysis, or whether it comes to the threat analysis, threat investigation, incident investigation, evidence collection, root cause analysis, forensic investigation. So these kind of different various activities, or maybe if you want to create a KQL query for running those in the different solution, you can do all those different activities using Copilot for Security. Next slide. Now, when it comes to the, I have seen one question where the concern was about the framework and the compliance, regulatory compliance with respect to the regional compliance. Okay, so I would like to clarify that this is not the other Michael Reader AI solution, like, or the generative AI solution. Here, the solution is designed in such a way that your data will be your data, and it will be within your boundary. Copilot for Security will not store any of your data. It will only connect to that particular solution and get you that required result on the screen. That's it. It will not store any of your data, and your data will not be shared with any of the other organizations, or even your data will not be used to train any other foundational AI models also, which you can see that in other basically open source generative AI solution. When you paste any kind of organizational data, that data can be used for training the AI models, which can be a very high security risk for the organization in terms of regulatory compliance. But here, with Copilot for Security, your data will not be used to train the foundation the AI models. Also, the Copilot for Security is protected both in data in rest and data in transit with most comprehensive security controls. Okay, and it follows a responsible AI framework, which is basically used to make sure that all the different functionalities and the features are very much in line with your regional security compliance. Sorry, next slide. Yeah. So now we will start with the demonstration, okay, of the three different business critical use cases which we were talking about. We will be doing the demonstration. So now, Pradeep sir, next slide.
Do you want me to? Okay, use case.
Yeah.
Okay, before you go to the use cases of all these things, there's a question from Niranjan Acharya. Can Copilot for Security be used in heterogeneous environment that includes non-Microsoft solutions? Interesting question.
Yes, definitely. It can be used in a non-heterogeneous or a hybrid work environments where you have a multi-cloud platform or multi-cloud setup, or maybe you have a set of Microsoft native solutions and a set of non-Microsoft native solutions. You can connect the the non-Microsoft or the third-party security solution with Copilot for Security. There are built-in plugins available for non-Microsoft security solutions currently, but there is also an feasibility option that is given by Microsoft that you can anytime create a custom plugin. Basically, it's just a simple YAML file where you have to put your API, the link, the API URL, and the authentication mechanism like OpenAI authentication. Okay, and then once you feed that YAML file into the custom plugin, you will be able to connect to the custom or the third-party solution, and you will be able to leverage that using Security Copilot. I hope I was able to answer your question.
I think you did very well. You go to the next demo case because we also have a question from Mohammed.
Okay.
And the question is, do you have any lab to evaluate and test the functionality of AI models in IDS? I think while Jayesh is answering this question, can you just open up the poll, please? Thanks. Go ahead, Jayesh, answer.
Yeah. So let me get more clarity on the question here. Do you have any testing lab to evaluate and test the functionality of the AI models in IDS? So basically, right now we are talking about the AI model, which can be connected with any security solution. Okay, but definitely, as of now, with Copilot for Security, there is no lab setup available. But you can the best part about Copilot for Security is that is kind of a pay-as-you-go model. Okay, the charges for Copilot for Security is based on per hour usage. So and that it is calculated based on secure compute unit. So you can start doing your evaluation by applying 1 or 2 SCUs. Okay, and you can use it for certain duration, like maybe for certain hours or certain days, and you can evaluate and test out all the different capabilities or whether it suits your organization requirements or not.
Awesome. Let's get to the demos, my friend.
Yeah, I would like to also add to it, Agun, this in terms of for the lab, wanted to, do you have a model already existing? Have you done an exploratory data analysis of the model, feature engineered the model, and then you want to test it? Then you can actually, or if you have not done it and you need help, we can use Azure AI within our Microsoft team to help you to do all this exploratory data analysis, pre-processing, building of those models. Those are all available and tools are available within the cloud. They're beautiful AI features that you can utilize.
I think you should spend time with Mohammed. We'll get in touch with you, Mohammed Usman, and we will. Sorry, Mohammed, and we will work with you. I think Jayesh, you should get in touch with him and probably guide him, right, with more
Definitely,
details.
definitely. Yes, we
Yeah,
can
let's
definitely
get on to
arrange.
them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Jayesh, you will share the screen
Yeah.
now.
So so let me give you a glimpse on the three different business use cases which we will be discussing and in the live demo. Okay, so these are the three use cases. So let us start with the first use case. Next slide, Pradeep sir. Perfect. Okay, so for the first use case, let's talk about how Microsoft Security Copilot can assist security teams with doing a detailed malware script analysis. Okay, now let's imagine that your team has identified a suspicious file in your network. Okay, now what is the next step that needs to be taken? Analyzing the file or analyzing the code which is there as part of the script. Now, manually analyzing this file could take hours or maybe days, depending upon its complexity, and you might also require advanced reverse engineering skills to identify if there are any kind of key indicators or what is the intended use of the script, whether it's a malicious or not. All these different conclusion, if you want, you have to analyze or evaluate the code line by line. Okay, and that might also require, as I've said, it might require advanced reverse engineering skills. Okay, now let me give you an example here. The security team basically who sits at in your organization receives a potentially malicious script. Okay, it can be a keylogger script or it can be a maliciously crafted script. Now using the traditional method, basically they will have to go through the script line by line. Often they will lack a full understanding of its behavior and they might miss a lot of things that was very critical in identifying the behavior of the script. Okay, but using security copilot, basically you can just tell the security copilot to, in a natural language query, you can tell that can you do a detailed script analysis for me for this script. Okay, then the security copilot will perform an in-depth analysis within seconds or within minutes. Okay, I will be showing you that as part of demo that it will not take hours or maybe days to do that entire details evaluation or analysis. It only takes either few seconds or few minutes to do an in-depth analysis. And after the evaluation, okay, after the evaluation of the script, basically you will find that it will find the detailed anomalies that are part of the script, any kind of suspicious actions that are part of the code. If it is trying to attempt to modify any system registries, if it is like it is crafted to encrypt any kind of data, or if it is maybe crafted in such a way that it should communicate to the external command and control center. So it basically this entire demo, it was basically the security copilot for security will tell you whether it is this code or the script is malicious or not malicious, and what are the different components part of that code after the evaluation. Let me quickly share my screen and give you a quick demo on that. Okay, sorry. So Pradeep sir, can you confirm if my screen is visible to you?
It is visible, Jay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. So before we move on to the actual demonstration, let me give you a quick overview about the how this Copilot for Security portal looks like. So this is how the Copilot for Security portal looks like. Okay, and there are certain abbreviations or the terms that you should know before we go for the detailed demo. So basically, Copilot for Security works on the prompt engineering skills. When we say prompt engineering, basically you will have to write prompts for all your queries, and prompts are nothing but your natural language query which you can input in the Copilot for Security, that will be pre-processed and processed in the back end. Okay, and this Copilot for Security will connect with the respective security solution. Okay, and then it will give you the required response. So this is, if you see the bottom of the page, okay, this is where you have to put your prompts. And you can also see here on the right hand side, Microsoft has given the feasibility that you can select a lot of built-in prompts, okay, for a quick analysis. Okay, in case if you're not very well used to or aware about the prompts, how to write a prompt, what are prompts and all, you can use the built-in some system capabilities or prompts. And also there are prompt books available. If you basically, what is a prompt book? A prompt books is nothing but a series of prompt, okay, which is combined and put it in the library as a prompt book. For example, for day-to-day security operations, you have a set of prompts that you need to execute on daily as a business as usual activity. So you don't need to keep on writing those prompts again and again. You can save all those prompts as a prompt book, and then you can run those prompt books anytime at any point of time. Okay, and all the sessions which all the prompts that you will be executing, it will be saved as in your my sessions folder, and all the prompt books will be saved in your prompt book library. This is how the standalone experience looks like. Okay, now I will go forward with the demonstration of the detailed script analysis of a malicious script file. Now to move forward with that, I have a malicious script, okay, which I will be using to basically do an evaluation of the code or do a code analysis to understand if it is malicious or not. Okay, and there I have created a prompt book which I will be using. This is how I type and identify which prompt book I need. You can see here suspicious script analysis. So the moment I click here, you will be able to find all the series of prompts that it will be all these prompts will automatically run. Okay, so these are all the built-in prompts, or you can anytime create your own prompt book. So the only thing I need to do here is I need to input the script, the malicious script, which I have identified in my network or in my endpoint or servers. Okay, and then I need to click on submit. Okay, the moment I click on submit, this is how the output will look like. As you can see here on the screen, within 54 seconds, the Copilot for Security was able to analyze and evaluate the entire script and give you a detailed description of each and every section of the code. You can see here the entire script or the code was broken down into a set of the queries. Okay, and you can see here it has clearly explained in a proper storyline manner. Like it creates a directory named .key logs in the user's home directory. This is where the keystroke logs will be stored, which basically means that this script is basically used to keystroke the logging of all the end users. Okay, and once that logging is stored and it is stored in that particular file, this particular script will then connect to this public IP, okay, which is the command and control center using the command called as SCP command, and then it will basically the user will be the attacker 123. You can see it is how beautifully it has explained each and every line of the code, and at the end it has concluded that the script is designed to continuously capture and exfiltrate keystrokes from the user's keyboard to a remote host. So you can see now doing this task manually will take you hours or maybe days also. And what if your the team, the cybersecurity professional, does not even have the skill set to do a evaluation or the analysis of the code? Then you will never be able to identify the actual intended use of the script. But using Copilot for Security, within 54 seconds, you can see how it has it will choose the plugin, it will process your request, okay, and it will communicate to that particular solution in the backend, and then it will prepare it will prepare your response. Now for this script analysis, it will use its own AI model in the backend. You can see it has chosen generic, which means that the backend AI model has come into the picture and come into the action for the analysis. Now the next prompt was provide the reputation of any IPs on virus total. You can see here we have identified that this IP was used in the script. Now the reputation within 28 seconds, it was able to connect to the virus total API and get me the reputation of that IP along with the different details of the owner of the IP. You can see here the IP is registered with the regional internet registry, and that IP is located in Bulgaria. So the different information related to that IP and what is the malicious status, okay, of that particular IP. It is basically 11 vendors have categorized that IP as malicious. So this is how you will be able to do a thorough analysis along with identifying different lot of indicators within the script in a very short period of time, which is normally within minutes you can do run the entire prompt books. And as part of next step, I want to check if there are any kind of threat intelligence correlated to these indicators. You can see it has given that these are all the threat intelligence information, okay, and what are the vendors that has categorized this IP as malicious. then I am trying to extract all the indicators so that I can quickly focus on the indicators and take some response action. Within 31 seconds, I was able to get these indicators. Now, as part of my response action. So here, basically, Copilot for Security has provided me a remediation support, okay, by giving me the indicators so that I can use that indicators to maybe block that on the firewall and take certain response action on top of that. Or maybe I can remove this particular file from that particular system.
Great.
And at the, yeah, sorry.
No, continue.
Yeah. And you can see here, basically now as part of next step, now I am an L0 analyst and I don't know what next action item I should do. I don't even have the expertise on what all remediation action I should be taking as per to make sure that this kind of incident should not happen in the near future. So you can see here, I have requested Copilot Security to basically guide me or enhance my skill set. Basically, the Copilot for Security will basically guide me and suggest me what all action items that I need to take to make sure that this is not repeated in the near future. You can see here, you basically isolate the affected machine, identify the keylogger, remove the keylogger. These are all the action items that the particular the analyst has to take. So you can see the complete guidance has been given by Copilot for Security within 44 seconds. So you can basically understand very clearly that the response time normally which an security analyst has to spend, okay, and in doing the incident investigation, doing the threat investigation, doing the code analysis, all those things will take hours, okay. And by the time he has completed his complete analysis, by the time that attacker has done his intended work, he might have exfiltrated the data, he might have compromised the machine, he might have encrypted the machine. There can be a lot of response action. So it is very important for all the organizations to take the response action or remediation actions within the defined timeline so that the attacker should not be able to succeed in his intended the actual agenda. And at the end of this entire prompt book, you can see, now I want to share this entire investigation with my senior management or maybe with my senior the team lead. So I have asked Copilot to present me an executive summary report, which I can share with the management to make them understand what has happened as part of the incident. You can see how beautifully it has drafted, as if as if it is like a story explanation. Okay, and by reading this particular executive summary report, the even a non-technical audience will be able to understand what has happened as part of the incident as part of the incident. Okay.
Great. Jay, just take a breath. We'll just administer a poll question, please. Just get the poll question out.
Sure.
We got another 10 minutes, Jayesh. I hope
you're
happy
with
the time we get.
other use case, Jayesh?
Sorry, Pradeep.
Shall I project the next demo use case?
Yes.
Can we get the poll question, please? Yeah. All right. So this is the offer that we were talking of. Would you want us to work on an AI framework for your organization? Can you see the poll? For some reason, I can't see the poll. Oh, yeah, I can see the poll now. Just give it another second. Great. I think you can move on, Jayesh. People will continue to answer the questions. Let's move on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mukund. So as you can see here on the screen, now we will be discussing more about the second use case, okay, which is basically which focuses on identifying vulnerable devices and the more information related to that. Now, in any organization, understanding vulnerabilities across the infrastructure is crucial to basically to prevent security incident. Now, if you see in the traditionally conducting vulnerability assessment or identifying the vulnerable devices is a very manual and time consuming process. Basically that requires specialized tools and it requires a specialized expertise in running those different scans and identifying all the different informations. Okay, but using security copilot, okay, a typical security team might need to run a vulnerability scan, okay, across multiple assets like servers, endpoints, or it can be a multi-cloud platforms. Okay, now or maybe you might have a solution in the backend which might do that vulnerability scan frequently. For example, Microsoft Defender continuously does the scan, okay, on everyday basis, so that the data is already available in the Defender portal. Now once this the team basically is identified, okay, now the next action item what the team must do is prioritizing the different type of vulnerabilities that has been identified. Like the major the challenge that comes to any kind of team or the cybersecurity professional is to identify all the vulnerable devices and prioritize the remediation steps that needs to be taken on those vulnerable devices, and to understand okay, what devices I need to focus on priority, and what type of vulnerabilities I should focus on priority, so that there should not be any kind of risk associated in terms of the attackers compromising your personal data or your corporate data. So how security copilot can help here? Basically, you just have to ask the security copilot to identify all the vulnerable devices in my organization. As simple as that. You just have to write a natural language query. Okay, instantly it will tap into your particular that respective security solution. Okay, and it will integrate with your solution like Defender, Microsoft Defender, or any third-party vulnerability scan solution. Okay, and it will identify all the vulnerable devices on your organization, and then you can again ask the copilot for security to give further information with respect to that. And also it will provide you a structured report that will categorize different vulnerabilities based on severities, and what it will also provide you the explanation of each and every vulnerability IDs. Now we will be discussing that as part of demo in depth. Okay, allow me a second. Okay, yeah, let me know if my screen is visible.
It is visible, Jayesh.
Perfect. So now this again we are into the standalone portal of Copilot for security. Okay, to now to do an vulnerability assessment. Okay, I just need to again go to like maybe if you can either write a prompt series of prompts one by one, or maybe you can create those series of prompt as a prompt book and you can save it. Okay, so I will search here for vulnerability. You can see here I can either do a vulnerability impact assessment, or I can do a vulnerability assessment on the XDR. So I will click on here. Now you can see there are series of prompts that I have already created and saved, so that I can use it for day-to-day business as usual activity. Now it is asking me for an input which is top the number of top vulnerabilities. I'm putting the count as 10, and I will submit the input. Now this is how the response will look like. You can see here the first prompt which I have executed is a natural language query that hunt down that how many systems are currently vulnerable, okay, in my organizations, and using Microsoft XDR solution. You can see within 47 seconds it was able to create a KQL query out of that natural language query, and then execute that KQL query in the backend and on the solution end, and get me the result that 106 devices are currently vulnerable in my organization. You can see here there are 106 devices that are vulnerable, and you can anytime export this data to an Excel format. Now if you want to do further investigation, you can anytime jump to that Defender security portal from here itself. Also, now the next thing I want to understand is what are the devices that are vulnerable in my organization. So by just writing a single line of natural language query, like project all the device name along with the count of vulnerabilities they are having. You can see here again within 47 seconds it was able to convert that into a KQL query and execute and provide me the required response. This is how the response would look like. You can see these are all the devices in my organization that are currently vulnerable. Now this is just an demo portal. So these are not the actual vulnerable devices, but yes, we have created this portal, the lab setup in such a way that we should be able to identify some vulnerable devices. So you can see how efficient and how fast it is to get certain responses from different security solution. and it is and it makes your life so simpler by writing a simple natural language query. I had some query in my mind. I had some query in my mind, and I don't know how to find out. I can come anytime to Copilot for Security, write that as a natural language query, and within seconds I can get all the required response. Now as an investigator or as an security analyst or a defender, I want to understand all the vulnerabilities that has been identified on my different devices in my organization. Okay, how many of them are critical, how many of them are medium, based on the categorization of the severity. Okay, I have written a prompt to give me a proper response, and you can see here this is how the response I have got. All the devices that are vulnerable in my device in my organization, this is the overall vulnerability count for each devices. And then you can see these are the critical count, these are the high count, medium count, and low count. So by now you can take a decision, okay, that these are this is the most critical or the most vulnerable device in my organization. So you can prioritize on fixing those vulnerabilities on these devices, on the top 10 devices, or maybe top 20 devices, and then you can keep moving on with the other ones. Or maybe you can sort the critical ones and then start fixing all the critical vulnerabilities on your end devices. Okay, and then I'm now, as part of next step, I want to understand what are the top 15 CVs that are most common in my organization. So you can see within 51 seconds it has given me the data that these are the top 15 CV IDs that is most prominent in my organization, and then I need to focus more on prioritizing that and fixing those as part of remediation steps. So you can see here, even if I am a technical person, like maybe an L0 and L1 analyst, or if I am from a management team, like if I am a CISO of the organization, I don't need to rely on any kind of person to get me the data, or I don't need to jump onto any security solution to get me the details. Simply, I just need to write the right prompt, okay, and within seconds, I will get the required information. And then this is how I will get the complete idea about the security posture of my organization. That, okay, this is how my organization is secured. As you can see, as of now, my organization is not secure. I mean, the lab setup, the organization is not secure. So I need to focus now more on remediating those things and fixing those things and improving the security posture. Now I don't know what these CVIDs are. I know, like, by looking at this, it's just numbers for me. I do not have the skill set, or I do not know how what should I do. I don't even know what these CVIDs are. Now, using Security Copilot, I can simply again run one more prompt book, security, the vulnerability impact analysis, and I just need to provide this CVID. Just by giving the CVID, it has given me the detailed description about what is that CVID. Okay, you can see here what is the CVID, what is the vulnerability, on which particular function or application this vulnerability is applicable on. Each and every detail it has explained me in a very beautiful manner. And then it will also correlate with any kind of threat intelligence article, like any well-known threat actors in the world. If it is correlating with that, it will do the correlation also. And then I need to understand what all mitigation that I need to take for this particular CVID. I'm not aware about that. So I have just put a query, and then Security Copilot was able to just give me the required mitigation steps in a very even in seconds. So I can now you can see here, this is how Security Copilot will basically help me in improving my capabilities in terms of cybersecurity knowledge, in terms of remediation knowledge, and everything. This is
Right.
how these are some of the business use cases. Yeah, sorry, Mukund.
Jayesh, lot of questions. Quickly, let's answer this. And we promise not to leave any question unanswered. So just to stay back, we probably have another 5 or 10 minutes to go. The first question is, in case of an email, this question is from Sajad. In case of an email received and the end user click on the link within the email and it was an inappropriate email, so the same can be also addressed through that. That's the question. And the other question is that
One question at a time,
now,
sorry.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
there are another three more questions.
I
Okay, can you
understand. Yeah,
just
so,
read this a little? I'm not able to understand this fully. I guess he's
maybe.
asking. Yeah, can you just read through
Mm,
them? Yeah,
how do I want to do?
the question and answer.
Okay, let me read the questions one by one. Okay, there is a question from Gary, but how long will it have to will it have taken to connect to the source data Are there complexities behind that step? No, definitely. When it comes to Microsoft native solutions, there are no complexities at all. When it comes to the third party security solution, the only complexity is that we have to create a custom plugin. It's just a as I've said earlier, that there is a YAML file that needs to be updated with your the particular API URL and the authentication that is required to connect to that the solution. Basically, without authentication, it will not be able to communicate to that third party solution, and then it will not be able to query that the APIs for the response. But it's not a complex, just a one time configuration to create a custom plugin. Once you do that, you can anytime start querying and get your desired responses out of that. And to answer the next question, where is this? uh One sec, where is this questions? Let me check.
Take the easier one. Can this Copilot detect
Okay.
zero-day vulnerability as well?
Yes, definitely it can do. But basically, it will, as I've said, that this Copilot for security is a generative AI solution, which also you can call it as an assistive AI solution. It all depends upon what kind of query you are putting in front of Copilot for security. Based on that, you will get the desired responses. Okay, it's kind of a prompt engineering. You have to ask Copilot for security the right questions so that it can definitely support you in identifying and detecting zero-day vulnerabilities. Also, basically it will identify the different kind of behavioral impact also. Like for example, if you want to identify what are the top 10 failed logins in my organization, or if you want, you can write a simple query that please provide me the behavior of a particular user. Okay, so then it will present you with the different behaviors of that particular user, and that is how you will be able to identify any kind of zero-day attack. But it all depends upon what kind of the right questions you are putting in front of Copilot for security.
Great.
So the next
Can
question
you
again
answer
is,
the, yeah,
so the next question is, in case of an email received and the end user click on the link within the email and it was an inappropriate email, so the same can also be addressed to that. Definitely it can be addressed to that. The only requirement here is to connect the right solution with Copilot for security. Your email security solution, your defenders solution, your endpoint security solution, all this should be integrated with Copilot for security, so that whenever you run this the prompt books, okay, or the prompts, it will get you the desired result, that okay, this there is some kind of action, activity which was done by this particular user. Okay, and by default the security solution will also generate an incident or a alert for that. For example, if you consider Microsoft Defender XDR, the moment you start clicking an unauthorized or unintended malicious mail, okay, or a phishing mail, it will trigger an alert for that, and then you can always query the Defender XDR also for that particular alerts or the behavior of that particular user or activity.
right. Then the other question.
Yeah. Another question is, now show about the scripts, but how we reached out to the scripts. Do you use some sort of app to identify that and reach to the destination from where you pick the code, or it is just a sample? So as of now, this is just a sample which I have used, because I cannot use an actual malware file in my system, because the moment I do that, there is the Defender XDR will come into the picture as an defender and it will block that. It will not allow me to even copy that or paste it somewhere. That's because my even my endpoints are secured with the other Microsoft products, so I will not be able to do that. But definitely, if you identify any kind of file, there is an option in Copilot for security where you can upload the file also for the code analysis or the evaluation of that particular script. Or if you can copy that script, definitely you can copy and paste it. Both the options are feasible on using Copilot for security. Yeah, Mukan. I
Awesome.
hope.
Yeah, you did answer those questions. I hope you will be happy with the time you got.
Yeah.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Gentlemen and ladies, we are already 6 minutes beyond our stipulated time. I'm just going to wait for another minute to see if there are any other questions. We will be happy to walk you through this and our framework with you and your other key decision makers in the organization. One question again from Sendil. How do you ensure prompts don't leak sensitive data and things that are not harmful?
Sorry.
How do you ensure prompts don't leak sensitive data? I think that's the question.
Yeah. So as I've said earlier, okay, all your organizational data okay, will be secured within your organization. Okay. The other thing is security Copilot for security will not use any of your data to store in its solution. Okay. Basically, it does not store any of your data. It only the Copilot for security is just an portal or a medium where you can write prompts. It will connect to the solution and get the required data out of that. Now this data will not, the organizational data or any kind of PI data will not be stored in the Copilot for security solution. Other than that, the entire communication, the data in transit will be highly encrypted. Okay. And the data in rest, like for like all the sessions which you are creating, the sessions will be stored for your future reference, but even that will be completely encrypted using data in rest. And it will not, and the other part is your data will not be will not be used to train the foundational AI models, which means that the LLM model which is there in the backend is not ever about any of your data, of your organizational data.
Great. Any other questions, gentlemen and ladies? We are determined to answer any questions that you have. And in case any of you want us to kind of contact you and take you through some more details, just let us know. We'll be happy to do that.
Thank you, Mukund. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you for your
everybody.
time.
Bye.